seems to go right. Melodies don't sound right, it's true. Days disappear, shadows remain plainly clear. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. The door opens as it slows. I see a shade of something moving like a blanket in the wind. A pretty little blanket, perfect to heal me in the end. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. She walks by, and the spinning in my head grows. The door opens as it slows. I wish that I was pretty, more pretty than reflections look tonight. But I'm past the point of caring. It's time to make a moment. Let's not make a moment. This shouldn't be a moment. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. She walks by, the spinning in my head grows. When the door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. As she walks by, oh, she walks by, the spinning in my head grows. Watch it go. The door opens, and it slows. Closing sale, everything must go, nothing left behind, no wild oats to sow. It's out of my way, I'm done now, you see. You took the meat, but not my bones, now throw away your key. One foot out the door, persistent, you are frozen in time. Oh, I love you slips out of my mind. So sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. Set sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. I'll take take my ship away. As the storm rolls in, I hope the wind is with me, and I hope you've learned that the pirate within me is sworn to the truth. Live or die by this rule. Something old and something new is the treasure within me. As sad as it seems, you will come to know what it all means to me. Set sail, little bird, just go and set sail. Set sail, little bird, you just go now and set sail. Some pictures and some memories, ones I can't forget, on the crest of my black heart. You best not forget that the pirate never loses. He always collects one way or another. Now you can clear up all your regrets of the time you set sail with that pirate from the sky. You will remember him until that day that you die. Set sail, little bird. Now come on, just set sail. Set sail, little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Set sail, oh little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Don't forget to lose your mind tonight. Just watch me. Hello. Don't you think about responsibilities. Just feel what you want. Feel what you want tonight. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. We'll send you on your way if you say so. You try to, but you see me staring back at you. I'm staring back at you. So have another dance with me, my dear. Move your hips like this. It's clear I'm what you need. As a tear falls down, I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. Well, don't you look back, you will miss me. Don't look back, I'm standing under the street light at night. Don't you look back, try to forget. Yeah. So just walk to me, my dear. Look inside me, and it's clear I'm a better man than him. I'm a better man than him. Then time stops. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. Well, don't you look back, you will miss me. Don't look back, I'm standing under the street light at night. Don't you look back, try to forget. Yeah. So just walk to me, my dear. Look inside me, and it's clear. I'm a better man than him. I'm a better man than him. Then time stops. It's the same road as before, and I wonder who I'll see this time. Just to touch the water and swing through the trees. Home is at memory away. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home. Come to think of it, I've never felt so free. My tunes are a blaring, consuming that mountain breeze. It makes me so grateful to be alive. Home is a memory away. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home. Please take me home. Come on. Please take me home. Please take me You've been sitting in my mind by the blueberry pond for years, waiting for a worthy man to be The right kind of crazy, the right kind of touch. I've learned so much, baby, just wait and see. I've learned the right way to hold you tight and save you from all those scary nights. Alone I won't leave you, you will know how it feels to be the star of your show. 'Cause it's true, it's because of you. It's true, it's because of you. It's true, it's because of you.
I've been sitting in the dark with tears in my eyes, wondering how I ever lived through so many nights alone and afraid, feeling numb and insane, worried the shadows and fear wouldn't fade. Years passed me by, asking where I went wrong. Why couldn't I see you were there all along? Alone I won't leave you, you will know how it feels to be the star of your show. 'Cause it's true, it's because of you. It's true, it's because of you. It's true, it's because of you.
Stop being a bitch, you're at her door.
I know I'll never make it through another storm,
I vowed to save you from those scary nights.
and I crazy to believe I'm through this fight.
Hello,
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 hello.
15 years ago. Hello, 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 got to do now. Here I come. It's because of you.
It's because of you.
It's true. It's because of you.
It's because
Stop
of
being a
you.
bitch, you're at her door.
I know I'll never make it through another storm,
I vowed to save you from those scary nights.
and I crazy to believe I'm through this fight.
Hello,
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 hello.
15 years ago. Hello, 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 got to do now. Here I come. It's because of you.
It's because of
It's
you.
true. It's because of you.
It's because of you.
It's because of you.
It's because of you.
Welcome to the Femsplainers. I'm Danielle Crittenden.
And I'm Christina Hoff Summers, and we are thrilled to have the father of all.
You've been All right. I wanted to be as good as you. The only thing I wanted to do. I thought of you just yesterday. Why won't this pain get out of my way? Why won't this pain get out of my way? You were so young just yesterday, plowing through them white fields, plowing through them white fields, plowing through them white fields. Why won't this pain get out of my way? Why won't this pain get out of my way? Rolling by in every way. We are amazed, we must stay. The treasure map begins to fade. But the treasure is here to stay. But the treasure is here to stay. Why won't this pain get out of my way? Why won't this pain get out of my way? Why won't this pain get out of my way? Yeah. Why won't this pain get out of my way? Why won't this pain get out of my way? Yeah. You were so young. You were so young. Just yesterday. You were so young. You were so young. You were so young. Just yesterday. Rolling by in every way. We are amazed, but we must stay. The treasure map begins to fade, but the treasure is here to stay. The treasure is here to stay. Thanks for the memories, brother. seems to go right. Melodies don't sound right, it's true. Days disappear, shadows remain plainly clear. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. The door opens as it slows. I see a shade of something moving like a blanket in the wind. A pretty little blanket, perfect to heal me in May end. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. She walks by, and the spinning in my head grows. The door opens as it slows. I wish that I was pretty, more pretty than reflections look tonight. But I'm past the point of caring. It's time to make a moment. Let's not make a moment. This shouldn't be a moment. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. She walks by, the spinning in my head grows. When the door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. As she walks by, oh, she walks by, the spinning in my head grows. Watch it go, the door opens, and it slows. Closing sale, everything must go, nothing left behind, no wild oats to sow. It's out of my way, I'm done now, you see. You took the meat, but not my bones. Now throw away your key. One foot out the door, persistent. You are frozen in time. Oh, I love you slips out of my mind. So sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. Set sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. I'll take my ship away as the storm settles in. I hope the wind is with me, and I hope you've learned that the pirate within me is sworn to the truth. To live or die by this rule. Something old and something new is the treasure within me. As sad as it seems, you will come to know what it all means to me. Set sail, little bird, just go and set sail. Set sail, little bird, you just go now and set sail. Some pictures and some memories, ones I can't forget, on the crest of my black heart. You best not forget that the pirate never loses. He always collects one way or another. Now you can clear up all your regrets of the time you set sail with that pirate from the sky. You will remember him until that day that you die. Set sail, little bird. Now come on, just set sail. Set sail, little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Set sail, oh little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Don't forget to lose your mind tonight. Just watch me. Hello. Don't you think about responsibilities. Just feel what you want. Feel what you want tonight. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. We'll send you on your way if you say so. You try to, but you see me staring back at you. I'm staring back at you. So have another dance with me, my dear. Move your hips like this, it's clear. I'm what you need as a tear falls down. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. Well, don't you look back, you will miss me. Don't look back, I'm standing under the street light at night. Don't you look back, try to forget. So just walk to me, my dear. Look inside me, and it's clear. I'm a better man than him. I'm a better man than him. Look inside me, and it's clear I'm a better man than him. I'm a better man than him. Then time stops.
We need to be able to have conversations without feeling like we're going to say something that gets us thrown in jail because people happen to be offended.
Skepticism, skepticism. Do you know what you believe? Know what you believe? What you believe? What you believe?
All right, folks, we are live with Test Your Skepticism, number 4, our new call-in show here at Pangburn. How are you guys? I hope you all survived Halloween. If you didn't, I guess I'm talking to no one right now because you are dead. You're deader than any dead animal has ever been. And that's okay. It's good to be with you all again. I'm going to open up Skype in just a second here, so if you're trying to call in right now, I won't hear you. But I just want to say hello. I see, apparently, according to the numbers on YouTube, it says we have 2,700 people in the room. My skepticism is chiming in. So what happens with our channel sometimes is haters of Pangburn and everything we do, everything we stand for, promoting intellectual discourse and free speech and the sharing of ideas. A lot of people hate that, or a lot of people have some personal vendetta against me, and they like to spend their money, their hard-earned money, I assume, spend their money on buying bots and sending them to this channel, and then they send them here. And then even with the likes, they'll buy likes, and then they'll post on social media and take a screenshot and say, "Look, Pangburn bought bots for his show again." And then they feel cool and they get a high five from other people who suffer from what I call Pangburn derangement syndrome. But that's what happens sometimes. So for those of you who are actually real, hello, and even to the robots, if we do have robots in the concurrent viewers section or robots that have hit the like button, look, robots' lives matter as well, okay? They matter. They matter to me. They're very primitive AI, kind of like insects, but they're still alive in some sense, right? Welcome to the show. I'm going to open up. Sorry, Ryan, I haven't opened up Skype yet. I'm going to open it up right now. I just wanted to get my intro out there. But guys, I want to move through these things really fast. Have your claims ready. I have a few triggerable claims that I've put up on the screen. I'm an atheist. Trump is not racist. Biden is not a pedophile. Okay, I'm going to open up Skype. Hashtag stop murdering NPC. Yeah, no kidding. You just run around Skyrim, slashing, hacking. Okay, the lines are now open, guys. Feel free to call in. As soon as I get my first call, I will deal with it. Flavored water. Yummy. Did you guys have candy last night? All right, you are on Test Your Skepticism with Travis Pangburn. How's it going?
Hello, this is Ryan. Is my connection good?
Yeah. You sound great. You sound beautiful.
Yeah, so I called him a couple times, and I, honestly, I just didn't understand the argument.
Right.
But it kind of said something about it made claims about I was explaining kind of the Biden allegations, and it all kind of stemmed down to making a positive claim. So I was trying to figure out what the actual criteria was. I was trying to figure out.
So I remember your call. I think we had a bad connection last time. So if you're going to make the positive claim that Biden is a pedophile, and then you're going to cite things like, oh, I have this clip of him caressing his granddaughter, caressing a little girl in a way I think is strange as evidence of pedophilia. Pedophilia is having sexual attraction to children. Now, it used to mean prepubescent children, but colloquially, we kind of view it as the Jeffrey Epstein version of pedophilia, which is like 14, 15-year-old girls, underage girls. We kind of view that colloquially as pedophilia. But this has to do with sexual attraction. So you have to prove sexual attraction or sexual deviancy towards children, right?
Yes. I mean, like I've made also like I think I called them about like Black Lives Matter too, like about like saying like racism exists. But I was trying to like figure out like it all kind of down to this like criteria to prove a positive claim, and I just really didn't understand the argument. That's why like there was a disconnect there.
So, for instance, if we were going to prove, if you wanted to prove that someone was a pedophile, like your positive claim that you are a pedophile and you want to prove that, you need evidence to prove claims. So that does include, like in the court of law, it's kind of terrifying because people are very bad witnesses to things, especially in traumatic situations. Like they tend to not be able to take in information well under trauma in general. So we use that as a pretty high standard of evidence in the court system. But we when it comes to positive claims, we do use the scientific method to verify those positive claims.
Yeah, but okay, so it's saying like one issue like I called in about was like saying because what I'm saying is like the same was made against like older claims. I mean, like one was saying systemic racism exists. So like, how would you prove? Here's like one question. Like, let's say I'm saying systemic racism exists. Like, if it was true, how would you prove it exists according to this
systemic
kind of
systemic racism used to be true in the United States, to give you an example, because there was laws that said based on your race, this is the water fountain you drink out of, and this is the one you don't. Black water fountain, white water fountain, black washroom, white washroom, segregated. That's where you could look at and say, oh, we have systemic racism playing out in our society. What isn't evidence of systemic racism, if someone sees like a racial discrepancy in a race-based statistic that says, oh, okay, this many black males are incarcerated versus this many white males, there must be some element of systemic racism at play here. No, that's not necessarily the case. In fact, the evidence shows that people's actions, the way people move through life and the things that they do, the choices they make, have everything to do with their cultural upbringing and nothing to do with their race.
Right. So what I'm saying is like it kind of comes down to like almost literalism there. Like obviously now there's no way there could be a law that could exist that would literally be like blacks aren't allowed. That can't exist, right? So it's like, but I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't deny that there could be a policy, a sneaky policy that it would kind of meet the of not literally targeting a minority, like literally in text, but it would have a intentional disproportionate impact.
You say intentional. So yeah, you have to prove intention. Like if you're going to claim intention, you have to prove intention. So if you're gonna see a law and say, oh, this law happens to affect the poor more, and the poor within the poor demographic, right. If you break it up into races, the more people affected, if you look at it from a race-based perspective, black people are affected more, let's say in the United States, then you can't say that the intention was to smash down black people. That would be a fallacious claim. Right.
What I'm saying is like, so like I made one of my arguments was, and that's why like I was genuinely confused, was you can obviously do, like find out by just that, and I agree. But what you can do is you can look at kind of architects of the law, and you and like take actual quotes that they have said, like was their intention. Like when I made an argument about the drug war, obviously the drug war itself, there's no way to prove it itself, which I agree with. But what you can find is a Nixon aide, a person at Nixon actually admitted that was the intention. It was to target people against the war. It was to target minorities. Like a lot of people, like if you look, they will actually make quotes. Like a lot of the times they'll make quotes saying it almost was the intention.
Yeah,
so like you can kind of go back to architecture.
Yeah, almost was the intention is not sufficient. If you're going to make a positive claim, what you're talking about is inference, right? Making inferences about things. We do make inferences about things, and we do that all the time, and we move our way through life making inferences all the time. But as soon as you make a just one thing quickly. Nate and R in the comments just said, please sing the Test Your Skepticism. Skepticism, do you know what you believe? I just had to do that quickly. Yes, the basic rule, man. It always has to be, if you're going to come out and make a positive claim, like for instance, if I'm going to make a positive claim about you and say you're a pedophile, your name's Ryan, right?
My name's Ryan.
Yeah. If we're going to say Ryan's a pedophile, you would want to respond to that and say, why do you think I'm a pedophile? Where's your evidence that I'm a pedophile, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you would want, and then if someone says, well, it seems like the way you play with your niece or nephew, it seems inappropriate to me. And then you say, like what? Oh, well, you kissed your niece on the cheek. That's pedophilic. And then you're like, no, it's not. In my family, we kiss each other on the cheek all the time, and we don't look at it as a sexual thing. But to that person, they still might think, oh, that's evidence positive that they're more pedophilic than the person that's not kissing their niece or nephew on the cheek. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So what I'm kind of at a loss at, like, just genuinely confused about is, like, kind of almost going back to that issue, like, kind of arguing the drug war is it's systemic racism is that is like let's say we take cultural architects of the law and we find out it's racist, like that was the intention, that's not enough, and then but then it's not literally.
It would be enough if you can prove intention. If you can prove that the intention is to be racist, if there is an intention there, it is true that someone could be sitting back and thinking. And this is where everything's possible, right? Because of the matrix hypothesis, everything is possible. So if someone wants to make the argument that it is possible that there are people scheming to keep the black man down in the United States and trying to find very tricky ways to do this, they might get away with some stuff. But Satan could be doing that too, right?
Well, Satan? What?
Yeah, Satan could be. It's possible that Satan is doing that, right?
Well,
keeping the black people down, but it's not plausible, right? This is what I'm saying. I'm more interested in skeptics should be more interested in what's Satan. People should be interested in what's plausible versus what's possible. I am going to let you go there, Ryan, because I think we got a lot of people waiting to jump in here. But I hope you call again next week.
All right. Thanks.
All right, peace. All right, that was Ryan again. He wanted to sort out some things. The line is open again. Feel free to call in. I will talk to you about anything. Lay it on me. Are you guys experiencing any lag? Oh. All right, you are on Test Your Skepticism with the Pangburn. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Travis? I meant to be listening to you a little bit more often than I have, but I've had some work scheduling issues. I'm glad I was able to keep it this morning.
No worries, brother.
I'm going to try to keep it as close to the topic as I can, but kind of take it off in a different direction.
Sure.
I don't think that Donald Trump is a racist, but I do think he was lobbied for by racist people, truly ethnocentric, and in my opinion, I would consider him to be evil in some respects. I also don't think that Biden is a pedophile, but he definitely has a son that's got some interesting pictures coming lately, and I think like the topic of the conversation should be geared more towards those things. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah. So sorry, did you say that you think Trump is evil?
No. I think that I don't think he's racist. I don't even think by way of where he got his money, like the lobbies that lobbied for him in America. I think they're representative.
Yeah, when these racist, like these tiny little pockets of racist groups that still exist came out and supported Donald Trump, he said he disavowed and didn't want their votes.
No, I think you're. I'm sorry to interrupt. Not the Confederate flag waving Clinton David Duke type that I'm talking about. It would be more like AIPAC. Those kind of people who support, a genocidal policy, Palestinians.
I'm not familiar with AIPAC, but you say they support genocide against Palestinians. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, I would say so.
Oh,
And
okay.
also, they have a very domineering control
Now,
in keeping American politics polarized.
let's deal with this claim you made. What is your evidence that someone that you're claiming supports genocide against Palestinians?
Well, you could look at like public statements made in the past by people like Ben Shapiro. You can also look at the history of AIPAC as a political lobby and the policies that they've supported as far as foreign intervention and foreign aid to Israel, which also ends up going into their military budget, which inevitably
you're making a confirmation bias error here, unless you have direct evidence that they support. Because you're engaging in social extremist language. If you're going to say they support these foreign policies, that means they support genocide against Palestine.
No, not just those, not just foreign policies. They've actually they've lobbied for politicians on both sides of the aisle that would continue the illegal expansion of Israel's border as the Geneva Convention that we came to agreement with.
Okay, I just want to stop you there. You're still engaging in social extremist language. See, you may have led someone to believe that's listening to you that Ben Shapiro supports the mass attempt to. Sorry?
I don't think he currently does, but when he was more active in Zionist type organizations, he was very outspoken as a younger man about calling the Palestinians animals, and if you don't want to be killed, don't act like beasts and things like this. It's actually on his list of things that he wishes he didn't say, which I'll commend him.
Right.
For,
I understand, but that does not mean he's promoting genocide against them.
Well, if you lobby for politicians or donate to politicians that would support an illegal border extension of a legally defined ethnic state.
No, that's not evidence positive for your claim.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just giving you my skeptical foundation will not accept that as evidence positive for that particular claim. I think what a more sound claim would be. I think, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. I think what a more sound claim would be is that, Ben Shapiro or whoever else you're talking about seems to support, this border expansion, like the things that they actually claim they support. And you could also say, at one time Ben Shapiro said these, what you view to be nasty things about Palestinians. I think stick to the claims of what they actually. Sorry?
It's not my claims of it's on he updates the list of things that he wishes he didn't say.
And that's yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying I would stick to claiming and talking about the is of reality instead of trying to make some inference and connect all of these lines together and then make I would call it a bold ass assertion that Ben Shapiro supports genocide of Palestinians.
No, I don't think he supports the active shooting of pregnant Palestinian women protesting on the borders. I do think that he very much aligns with the more Zionist-leaning intentions of, again, illegally expanding by force in places like Ukraine. And also the connections to all of the politicians who have played ball with these policies is agreeing with the foreign policy. Every single one that, even if you wanted to pick one that you personally didn't like, I guarantee you they were lobbied for in some degree by AIPAC specifically. That would be the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee.
And you
the
think
largest Zionist lobbying group in America.
But would you refine your claim, or would you say Apex does promote and wishes for genocide against Palestinian people?
If you're willing to expand your borders by force against the Geneva Convention based on an ethnic state, I'd say that that's a pretty fair assumption.
Yeah, I think that's fallacious thinking. I think it's an assumption that doesn't need to happen. I think you can just stick to the evidence of reality, and deal with what's actually going on and what they're promoting, the expansion of the border. You don't have to use social extremist language and say, they're supporting the genocide. Because if they actually were, if they were actually promoting genocide against Palestinian people, that's enough for the UN to step in and say crimes against humanity.
Well, they've tried in the past, but I'm trying to think of the exact instance I'm thinking of. It was actually during towards the latter end of the Obama administration, where they refused to go with certain aspects of our agreements with Israel there.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I get where you're coming from, playing skeptic through and through. But I'd encourage you to do some reading and, whatever sources you see fit. I'm not going to muddy the waters with saying, "Oh, read this thing that I found."
Yeah, I've seen what you're talking about. I think you just need to refine your claims and don't add any subjective extremism to it. Just actually state what is demonstrable to be true.
Okay, so let's break it down then. Wrong in saying that Israel is an ethnic religious state?
I mean, someone might claim that. I would, if someone was going to claim that, I would want to see, what their evidence was for claiming that, and if Israel.
I can give you a really good one.
Yeah. So
if you look up the nation state law, Israel, it specifically does as a Jewish homeland, which is multiple ethnicities that are distinct from their previously host countries, as well as a strong, cohesive social and religious bond.
Right.
It's that's the law there. It's written into their laws.
Right. So then you would have direct evidence, right? Which is great. And I just wish for people to make claims based on direct evidence. Do you? Let's jump. Did you have one more topic? You said. Or?
No. I just wanted to confess I was the guy who said Biden bangs baby. I was just being silly in the comments. So thanks for taking my call.
Comedy,
you have a good one.
All forms of comedy are great with me, brother. Thanks for the call.
All right, cool. Have a good one. Peace.
Yeah. All right, the lines are open, folks. I want to get through as many calls as we possibly can on this show. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're going to be doing this every Sunday. Invite your friends. Okay, we got another call coming in. Hey, you are live with Travis Pangburn on Test Your Skepticism. What do you got for me? You're live. What do you got? Are you there?
Hey, this is a call from India here.
Oh, call from India. Okay, cool. Just speak really clearly and what do you got for me?
Yeah, so I clearly audible.
Sorry, you're really hard to hear. Just try to speak as clearly as you can.
All right. Hold on. Now am I clearly audible?
Yeah, that's good. You do have quite a thick accent, so I'll do my best to pick up on what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So getting onto the stuff, you're declaring that you're an atheist, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you define atheism?
Atheism, I'll do a quick definition of atheism. Atheism is simply this, and this is how Dawkins, Harris, Hitchens, all of these guys across the board, this is what they mean by atheism. And any atheist I've ever talked to, if the atheist is taking some kind of positive claim position, usually after I describe atheism, they adopt the actual atheist position. So atheism is simply I'm sitting down. I don't have any belief in any gods. I'm just living. And then someone walks up to me and says, "Hey, Travis, this God exists." And then I'm like, "Oh, well, that's a cool story. Let me check this out. Oh, and how do you know this God exists?" And then they'll give me what they believe to be sufficient evidence to justify their belief. And then I'll say, "Well, this isn't evidence at all. This is just, stuff that comes from a myth book, stuff that's going on in your head when you think you're communicating with some kind of deity, which I believe is just your imagination. So there's just no evidence positive. So atheism is simply just the rejection of that. You're just sitting in a state of, well, you haven't demonstrated your claim. That's all atheism is. Just like every other, most people who believe in God believe in one particular God, but they don't believe in the rest, the same way they come to not believe in the rest, they're an atheist with regards to all of those other gods except that one. And much like Michael Shermer and Richard Dawkins always say, I just ask people to go one God further. Use their same reasoning capabilities against their own God that they've chosen or in most cases have been born into.
Yeah, actually, that's very interesting. Like, when you ask for evidence for God, like I think it helps to be very specific about what kind of evidence you are looking for, right?
Well, let's do, when you say what kind of evidence, when we evaluate existence of things, like, let me hold up this marijuana pipe. This marijuana pipe exists. Do you know why it exists? We can verify it with our senses. We can measure it scientifically. Look, it exists. It exists. Yeah, so and the scientific method, like I mentioned, senses. So our senses to begin with, oh, something's going on here. Then we use the scientific method to measure what it's made of, what its components are, what it could function as. All of these things outside of our senses, we use the scientific method for to verify that we're not just hallucinating this thing in our hand and looking at it, invisible fairies flying around. So when we're talking about things existing, that's what we mean. And evidence is scientifically measurable. That's what we're looking for. So there's no like kind of evidence. If someone wants to say, "Oh, my God is a metaphor," or like the Jordan Peterson metaphorical God, yeah, okay, you don't really have to bring evidence. You can just say, "I believe in the power of the metaphor of God," and it's like, okay, cool. So yeah, that's all. There's no like, what does evidence mean to you?
That really translates to being physically verifiable or rather quantifiable evidence in my standards. I think there is another like very distinctive line of evidence that not evidence per se, line of proof or logical deduction that can also be used to verify truth claims. Like, for example, formal logic. Let's say the kind of Kalam calls argument user.
Are you
like
talking about
logic science?
Yeah, you're talking about the logical absolutes, right? Like here's the problem with those though. Like if someone's to claim a triangle will always have three sides. Oh, I'm dealing with a bit of connection issue here. Just 2 seconds.
Yeah. Like, am I still audible?
Yeah. You're still there. I'm just getting the stream back here a little bit. It looks like we are. Yeah, I think we're good now. So yeah, if you can
the kind of example you gave was.
The scientific evidence, we're still going to be able to apply the scientific method and the scientific worldview to whatever logical argument you think you've put together that is, maybe perhaps unfalsifiable or something like that. Like people like William Lane Craig take the argument of like cause and effect, they take it all the way back, or they take it to the extreme and say everything that has ever been has been caused. It's like, no, actually, there may actually be a constant, infinite state of potential, like pre-Big Bang state of potential that has always existed. So I'm not convinced, and I don't think it's helpful to make these claims when the way that you're verifying them is just by some language trick.
Yeah, like I do not think it's necessarily a language trick because, for example, the example you gave about a triangle having three sides, like necessarily having three sides, it's a kind of tautology, right? Like the definition of a triangle is that it's like a geometrical figure which has three sides.
Look,
so,
it's a pretty good claim to make. But one thing I will caution you, I don't think people should make those absolutist claims because of the possibility of the matrix hypothesis. You could be tricked by the matrix controller when you make these claims that you are so absolutely certain about, the Matrix controller might change the rules on you as soon as you think you understand the logical absolutes, or the things that you can claim from a standpoint of logic, and feel as though you are 100% certain. I'm not convinced that we can necessarily be 100% certain about anything, minus possibly the theory of everything I'm working on right now, which is simply stating that everything is a state of potential. Because even the Matrix hypothesis, the Matrix creator or controller in that case cannot escape the state of potential theory, I think. So.
Yeah, so that kind of gets us into the problem of like the question of whether we can have any knowledge at all. Like,
well, but knowledge. Look, knowledge as true justified belief. We don't. I think it's a mistake to equate knowledge to 100% certainty. I think it's a mistake, and I don't. I think that standard is, because of the Matrix hypothesis, I think that standard is generally unreachable, minus maybe a couple things that we might come up with. But I think that standard is, people should look at it as close to certainty and not absolute certainty. But do you believe in God?
I am kind of a person who likes to play around with the concept. I sometimes believe in God and I sometimes don't. So like I'm just like a logical actor, that kind of guy.
Right. So you're not so convinced that a God exists that it's impossible that you're wrong, right?
Yeah, the thing is that I once subscribed to the idea of philosophical skepticism, and I didn't believe that any kind of knowledge is possible at all. Like, for example, that thing you just said, that we cannot ever be 100% certain about any truth value of any statement in existence.
But be careful with that. Be careful with that, because that doesn't. I'm not saying that we should just throw the concept of knowledge out the window. I think we can still have the concept of knowledge. Just people don't have to view the concept of knowledge as 100% certainty. They can view it as 99.99999% certainty.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of a slippery slope, because if you're 99.9999% certain about anything, are you 100% certain that you're 99% certain about that thing? Like, if you say that you're 99% certain about X, then you are basically saying that you're 100% certain that you're 99% certain about X.
No, you're not. You don't have to. I don't think you have to do that. You don't. You might think you feel you need to do that, but you can just say, like, we don't need that feeling of 100% certainty to get along through life. People do get in this nihilistic. I know what you're trying to. This nihilistic de-escalation down to this point of, we can't know anything. This is all nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I understand how people can get down there, but the way people deal with uncertainty in life is just we make inferences. I don't see any evidence. People have been trying to keep alive this effort to demonstrate these ancient gods through ancient myth books and stuff, and I'm just sitting back here, like, ever since I was a little boy, and just being like, what? That's not a demonstration of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I do think that many representations of God in many religious texts is just nothing short of and sophisticated, natural, dream, and sophisticated school of thought. I just study and look at their actions and their ways of. I am bound to think that there is maybe something more to it than which meets my eye. You know.
Yeah, you're a bit hard to hear. I hope you do call back. I'm going to move on to the next caller, but I hope you do call back, brother. I really appreciate the call.
Thank you for the
all the best. All the best to you. All right, the lines are open, folks. Jump in. Be the next person to get your bottom spanked. I'm an atheist. Trump is not racist. Trump is not a racist. Biden is not a pedophile. Those are some claims to get your goose cooking. Okay, here we go. All right, you are live with Travis Pangburn on Test Your Skepticism. How's it going?
What's going on, right? How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. What do you got for me today?
Well, I'm a Christian apologist, and someone said I should call in your show, and I've been listening for a little bit.
Oh, cool.
And so I thought I would call in.
Can I just want to start off with one question. Is it possible that you are wrong about Christianity and that it's actually a myth?
So you start off with a question. I'll assume I get a question later.
Yeah, of course. I just want to ask if it's possible that you are wrong about Christianity and that the atheist position is actually the correct one.
If it's raised from the dead, then Christianity is crucified. So if you can find reasonably produced of Christ, then Christianity is proven. So yeah, it's possible.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. I just the reason why I start off with that because I want to. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback. You'll have to turn down the YouTube stream if you have it running.
I don't have any YouTube. It's down, and I'm just on my phone. So sorry, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm getting a bit of feedback from something. Oh, maybe it's just coming through your headset or something.
No, I'm on my speakerphone.
Yeah, I'm getting a
speakerphone. Want to call right back?
Yeah, like whatever you're listening to my voice through is coming through your microphone. I think that's the problem. Maybe if you just
it's my cell phone.
Turn off speakerphone if you're on speakerphone.
Well, let's try that. How's that?
Check. 1 2 1 2. Oh yeah, that's good. You got it. Right on.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you for answering my question. You go ahead.
All right, so you said you're an atheist.
Yes.
Are you a strong atheist or a weak atheist?
Well, I'll explain my atheism. Atheism simply is just I haven't been convinced by any of the God claims that have been presented, and I'm open to hearing, evidence for anyone's particular God existence claim that they're going to make. But so far, I have rejected them, and I have seen no good reason to believe these claims, and that is my atheism in a nutshell.
You haven't defined your atheism, though. What is it?
Atheism is simply the rejection of the God existence claims.
Okay, so you're a strong atheist. You believe God does not exist. You openly reject God.
Let me give you one little example. Like if someone came up to you and said Zeus exists, like the pagan, one of the pagan gods. Yeah, Zeus is pagan. If someone says Zeus exists, I assume you don't believe Zeus exists?
No, I'm a Christian apologist.
Yeah.
So defend the Christian thing.
So you don't believe in Zeus. So you're an atheist with regards to the Zeus god.
No, that's not a definition of atheism. Atheism is the denial of God. So what you're doing is equivocating. I'm not an atheist about other gods.
You're denying Zeus as God, though.
No, I'm not an atheist.
But you're an atheist to Zeus the same way I'm an atheist to all gods to this point. But you have found yourself a god to believe in, and I wonder why.
Well, I didn't find myself a god to believe in, and you're equivocating in the term atheism. Now, I've discussed this with many, many atheists, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times over many years, and your definition isn't very good.
I think my definition isn't very good because it gets down to where your God belief is going to fall apart. It's going to require that you demonstrate your God belief with evidence, not just a presuppositionalist type of, oh well, you presuppose X about X and I presuppose that God exists, so we're equally presupposing things. And no, we're not.
Okay, so you say I presuppose that Zeus doesn't exist, and then you don't want me to presuppose the same thing with you in reverse. Double standard. So we talk about evidence. Did you know that evidence is abstraction? It's a concept.
Evidence is what? Sorry?
Upon a theorem or a hypothesis. Are you familiar with that?
I'm just repairing my internet here. Evidence is just a label we put on something.
No, if you're a tautologist. Here's an example. I'll explain. If say, I don't know what state you live in. I'm in Idaho. Let's just say that your house is robbed, and I robbed by the person entering into that window, because the evidence, what you would see is a physical phenomenon, the physical kind of mad idea or the hypothesis. Are you there?
Sorry, just hang on a second. I'm getting some weirdness with my internet connection here. Huh. Okay, it looks like we're back. Okay, sorry. Can you just say the last bit of that?
I don't know where you heard or was left off. The idea of evidence. If you're going to want evidence for God, it's not going to be the same kind of evidence that you would have for determining whether or not there's a rock out in my backyard.
So you're wanting to propose a new standard of evidence outside of what the scientific method calls evidence.
What makes you think the scientific method is the right way to determine God? Since
I'm not going to claim
method.
I'm not going to claim it's the right way to determine God. I'm just saying that when it comes to the existence of things, we use the scientific method to verify that, because we can it verifies outside of our own our own senses, our own particular senses. Other people can come along and verify these and repeat these scientific findings.
The scientific method is aimed at the material world.
Right, and the material world is all we got, unless you have evidence that there is some kind of.
Whoa! Who says the material world's all we got? How do you know that?
How do I know that the material? Well, I'm willing to claim it with as much certainty as I would claim that Santa Claus does not exist. Do I know Santa Claus with 100% certainty doesn't exist? No, I don't know that. But I'm willing to claim that the material world, with the same level of certainty as with Santa Claus, that the material world is all we got. There's no evidence of anything outside the material world.
To say there is no evidence means you know all evidence, and to say there's no evidence, you can't say that. At best, you can only be agnostic and say, I haven't seen enough evidence, which is a subjective preference on your part. The scientific method is a philosophical approach.
Just one sec. I'm just using colloquial language when I say there is no evidence. When I say there is no evidence, I mean I have come across no evidence positive of this.
First of all, that's not what colloquial language is. Evidence, you are talking about a material world. If God is not material, why would you want materialistic evidences to be used to support God's existence if he's not materialistic?
Yeah, same with the invisible fairies around my head.
I asked you a question.
I'm just telling you that same standard you just proposed goes the same for the invisible fairies flying around my head.
Can you answer the question, though, instead of bringing up? Because I always think it's interesting that the atheists are the ones who bring up magic and fairies. I never do. I bring up logic. I do bring up evidence. I bring up transcendentals. I bring up universals. We talk about all kinds of really good stuff. It's always the atheists
bring this up because atheists aren't engaging in special pleading like you are, and you're applying this standard. You're applying this standard to God, but you're not willing to apply this standard of evidence to invisible fairies, I assume.
You don't know what I will or will not apply to evidence for them or not.
Well, I just called it out, and you went to...
The special pleading is what you're doing. You're special pleading. Okay. You're the one who's guilty of what it is you accuse me of. I'm asking you the question.
Can you demonstrate that?
Do you realize what is called a category mistake in logic? If God is not materialistic, is it the right thing for you to do to require materialistic proof? That's my question.
Oh, if you say if God is not materialistic, would it be reasonable to ask for material proof? I would say no, it wouldn't be realistic if he's not materialistic. But you have to demonstrate that he's not materialistic.
Does the scientific method rest on materialism?
Does it rest on materialism? The scientific method is pulling evidence from reality. So if you're going to say that materialism is reality, then sure, I'm happy to go there with you.
You're a materialist, right?
Well, the scientific method works, and if that means you can label me whatever you want, but I'm saying what I just said. The scientific method pulls evidence from reality and gives us models that best describe those things. I assume you don't deny that medicine works.
Yeah, of course I don't. What I'm trying to get here is with you is a logical discussion, and you're avoiding it.
I'm not avoiding it. I'm
trying to
just
help
not
you out.
allowing you to apply rules to your God that you wouldn't apply to invisible fairies. And I think
I
you
didn't
get
say
stuck
it.
with it.
I already denied that.
Well, my invisible
I already
fairy,
denied
these
that.
invisible fairies exist outside the material world.
We're talking about the God. We're talking about God here.
No, but
Now,
I want to talk about invisible
You've already,
my invisible fairy belief.
Hold on. I don't know if you believe in invisible fairies, because I certainly don't. But if you want to tell your audience you do, you want to defend it, that's fine. Give it a shot.
I'm defending it
Too
right
bad
now.
to take that position and knock it down.
I'm defending it
here's
right
the
now.
thing.
There's an invisible fairy right here. Can you please tell me why I should have to demonstrate this in the material world? Why should I have to demonstrate that? It exists outside the material world.
Well, let me ask you, how do you know there's an invisible fairy right there with you?
Because I have faith.
Wait, you mean just faith? That's it? That's invisible?
Well, I have faith
How do you know it's invisible?
and also a presupposition. I'm just going to accept that this fairy exists because this fairy is actually all-knowing. I read it in a book.
So let me get this straight.
It has the
You're
same.
trying
This
to argue-
fairy has the same properties as your God, as your Christian God.
It does?
It does.
So
I read it
you're
in a book.
presupposing the Christian God.
Yes, I'm presupposing the Christian God in this invisible fairy right here. Do you believe that
Wait a
this?
minute.
Do you believe? Do you believe in the existence?
If you say,
do you believe in the existence of this fairy?
Hold on. You just said the fairy has the same characteristics, the same attributes as the Christian God. Therefore, it is the Christian God. So now what you're doing is arguing for the Christian God to argue against the Christian God?
No, this fairy says the Christian God is not real. You're believing a delusion. This has come straight. This has come straight from my fairy that's flying above my head.
So this is how you're arguing? You're presupposing fairies?
Yeah. I'm giving you an example of what giving you an example of what you are doing with your God. You are presupposing.
I haven't done anything. I've asked you questions, and all you've done is introduce
You said
fairies.
no. The reason why I introduced the fairies is because you started talking about the materialistic, evidential standard of the scientific method and how it shouldn't apply to your God. But I'm trying to tell you.
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
You did.
You don't listen. I did not say it. I asked a question. I didn't make a statement.
Okay, let's start.
You're not listening. I know you made a statement. You dive into the deep end, and you don't know where you're going. I asked you a question. Is it right? I asked you. I'm finding out what logic you know. Is it correct for you to assume that you must use materialistic evidences for a God who's not materialistic? I just asked a question.
It's nonsensical because you're starting off like
it's not
and I already answered actually, by the way. I said if your God actually is outside the materialistic world, then we wouldn't be able to use materialistic type evidence and approaches to evidence to verify.
Let me help you out.
To verify.
Let me help you out.
Yeah.
If he were to enter into our world, then there would be some, so to speak, fingerprints within our creation. We could be able to at least look at some of those. So I'm trying to help you out. You're not even thinking through this clearly. You're just reacting too quickly.
We're waiting for your evidence.
You said, the evidence is the impossibility of the contrary. I can prove to you that your materialism doesn't work. If materialism does not work, and it's falsified as being true, you can't trust it, you don't know, then the materialistic view you hold to can't be validated.
Wrong.
If you only have two options, it's disjunctive syllogism. If you only have two options to account for something, just two, and one's negated, the other one is by default validated. You assume the materialistic worldview.
You're
Yes.
assuming there's only two games at play. You've already made a mistake.
No, I didn't, because I gave a logical thing. I've done this thousands of times with atheists.
I know,
said,
and
if there are only two options,
thousands of times. Because
no,
look,
on the contrary.
we don't get to wish things into existence and presuppose
I don't
that
do
God
that.
exists. How do you know? Just tell me.
Why not?
Just tell
Why
me straight
can't
up.
you presuppose God exists?
There you
Why
go.
can't you
The
do that?
presuppositionalist comes out because we shouldn't be presupposing
I just asked.
anything.
Why can't you?
Because we shouldn't be
But
presupposing
look, let me get
anything.
back. First of all, I'm showing you when you have it's called a disjunctive syllogism. When you have two possibilities, only two. You didn't hear that part. Only two, God or not God. That's a disjunctive syllogism. Only two, true dichotomy. And you didn't hear that. You're not listening. You're reacting. You're not thinking clearly, and you're not thinking these things through. If you only have two things, God and not God, and one position is negated, the other one is by default validated. It's called the impossibility of the contrary.
No, I agree with there either are gods or there aren't gods. But there are, but the thing is like you want to say God or no God, but it's possible that there are gods.
Wow. If there are gods, that's plural, that would mean there's at least a God. So hence God or not God.
Sure, but you said God or not God. Like you're
yes, it's either the case that God exists or it's not the case that God exists.
Look, I have a lot of people. I have a lot of people waiting. I hope you do call back. But
are you afraid? Why don't we set up a debate?
My whole thing is that you can't presuppose that a God exists and just say whoop-de-doo.
Let's set up a debate.
I figured it out. Okay. I appreciate your call, by the way. I hope you call back. The lines are open, guys. I want to get through as many calls as I can. All right, you're live on Test Your Skepticism.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, how's it going?
Good. You're live with Travis Pangburn. What do you got for me?
Cool. So I'm actually going to kind of pick up where that guy left off, but kind of try to add some more logic and reasoning to it.
Sure.
So what he means by you're stuck in the material reasoning is I think you are under a different paradigm to understand what God is. So to like help understand that, we can go back to like earlier paradigms that we've gone through in human evolution. The first being the geocentric model, which is like we understood that Earth was the center of the universe. And then we moved to the heliocentric model, and everything revolved around the sun, right? So like there's like two different...
Hey, I just want to, I just to get ahead of this a little bit. If someone's going to say this God exists, I want to know why you believe that.
I believe it because the material world, the material like scientific reasoning doesn't actually explain like the nature of reality. And I think when
what do you mean by that? We actually have great explanation of it. You mean the first? You mean trying to find like the kickoff for the Big Bang? Like what are you getting at?
I mean like physicists will admit that they don't know like what goes beyond like elementary particles.
Yeah,
like,
yet.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Yeah. So there's that. So
that's God.
Right there,
so just one sec before you step in
hold on.
the God of the Gaps cow pie here.
Let me finish really quick.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
My thought there.
Yep.
Let me finish my thought there. So right there, you have to agree that right now, material science doesn't actually. If we don't know what the first thing is, then we don't actually know. We can't say that anything is real.
No. You failed. If you don't know certain aspects of reality, it doesn't mean you can't understand it. That's wrong.
It doesn't mean you can't understand it. It doesn't mean you'll actually know you won't know everything about it. You can only use your senses to.
You can only use your senses to what? Presuppose that a God exists?
No, I'm saying like you can only use your senses to get like a round to like what is true, but you can't actually get like what is real without knowing what the nature of reality is.
No, that's wrong. Scientific method, we can know things through the scientific method to very high levels of certainty.
But we can't know. The point is, if we don't know, if physicists will say that we don't know yet, that's a faith-based standpoint.
No, it's not.
That's not.
Faith is the excuse
Yes,
you
it
give. Faith is the excuse you give for believing something when you have no good reason to give, or else you would give a good reason. That's my definition of faith, and that's how I see faith used.
That's not that's not right. That's you.
Okay, how do you define faith? How do you define faith?
Well, I'm just saying, if you're saying that, if you're waiting on future that to make sense of the world, then that's you're having faith in that thing that it will then prove something. So I think that's not.
No, you don't have to make that positive claim. You can just say that this method is the best method we got to determining what's going on in reality, and that is the scientific method. And this is all verifiable and repeatable.
No, you're not saying it's the best. You're saying You're conceding right now, just so you know.
Huh?
You're not. You're conceding because you're not saying. You're not even when you're articulating it. You're not even saying. You're saying we know the best way. You're not saying we know 100%. So if we don't know the actual nature,
I'm not convinced. Don't get caught up on 100%. I'm not convinced that we can know anything necessarily to 100% certainty. And I think the matrix hypothesis gets in the way of that.
Of course, we just have to change our paradigm. Like we're stuck in this material way of thinking when it doesn't even have the answer to reality. It doesn't. We don't even know. We can just make assumptions. You see what I'm saying?
The scientific method isn't based on assumptions.
It is. Well, I'm not saying the scientific method is based on assumptions. I'm saying it's based on our senses, and our senses can only get us so far in understanding the world.
The scientific method isn't based on our senses. It's actually a method created to overcome our senses.
It's based on observation. We observe things, and then we can understand them through our senses.
Then we build models that exist, whether we are around to sense make them or not.
But yeah, I think you're missing my point, because that current model that we have, you already conceded the point that model hasn't given us an understanding of the true nature of reality, since physicists don't understand.
And it depends what you mean by true nature of the reality. And you have to understand this. Just wait 1 second. Let me finish. Let me say one thing. I have to say one thing.
When you say yet, that's conceding that it's a faith-based way of thinking.
No,
You're
it's
saying
not.
Yet.
Faith. That's just leaving room, and I know this is hard for a religious person to hear, but that's just leaving room. That's just leaving room for new discovery.
But it's also faith-based.
No, it's not. What's your definition of faith? I'm waiting for it.
You could just look at. I'll just give you
I want to know. I want to know how you. I want to know how you use it.
Well, I'm using it in. It's like complete trust or confidence in something or someone or something. So you're trusting that.
No, that's not faith.
What's the definition of faith then?
I gave you the definition of faith. How I see faith used is the excuse you give for believing something when you have no good reason to give instead. Because when someone asks you, why do you believe that an apple exists, you will give good reasons as to why you believe apples exist. And then if someone says, why do you believe God exists, you'll do all this tap dancing weird stuff, and then it all gets boiled down to, well, I just believe it, man. That's faith.
That's exactly what you're doing when you're saying that physics will get to the true nature of reality. You know, it's just
okay. I have to let that caller go. It's just falling off the rails. The scientific method isn't engaging in faith as much as you want to say. Okay, we got another caller. Solomon, you are live on Test Your Skepticism. How's it going? Hello? Hello? You are live. Solomon. All right, hello. You are on Test Your Skepticism. Just turn off your YouTube feed there.
Okay. Just turn off your YouTube feed.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Oh no, you have to mute all of your stuff. Just be on Skype with me, and don't
What
be
did you
on
say?
speakerphone.
What did you say?
Check, check, check. Okay, yeah, now we're good. Welcome to the show. This is Test Your Skepticism. What do you got?
Okay, so I've been listening to you for a while, and I think you've got a very good argument. I believe in God. I believe God exists, but we cannot prove it. It's not provable. We cannot do it. We just have to prove from feelings and
why would you believe something if you can't prove it?
yeah, it's like something like the kind of dreams we have. Sometimes you have a dream and you can clearly see the future, and then it clearly comes true, like how you dreamt about it, and you still don't understand how your brain was able to see the future. It's just like that. We can prove it.
Yeah, so I don't think you should believe things that you can't prove. I don't think it's helpful because I think it gets in the way of and sometimes these things that you believe can have dogmas that come along with them, like anti-scientific rhetoric or promises of afterlife. I just don't think these things are helpful, and I think they get in the way of human well-being and flourishment.
Yeah, you're right. You're very right about that. And I think what is supposed to go along with okay, for me personally, what goes along with what I believe is, reasoning and actual research, and try to, do what goes along with a scientific, method. Don't do anything that, let's say there is a dangerous dogma the dogmas first of all exist in the religion to be talked about and to be, we're supposed to think about it for a long time and actually see what it means. We are not supposed to take it for what it just says over there. That isn't what we're supposed to do. But I understand what you're saying. There are some religious people who just ride along with a dogma, and it causes a lot of problems. But I don't believe that is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to think about it, research about it, learn more about it, and see if we can understand it. If there isn't any, meaning to it that can help us as humans, we're not supposed to follow it.
Do you think so what are the helpful things that you would say you get out of your God belief?
Okay, I think morality, most of our moralities, come from, Christianity. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So you would say morality comes from Christianity. So my moral foundation is simply maximize well-being for myself and those around me. And that doesn't come with any of the, dogmatic teachings or strange parables or violence and criminal pronouncements and things like this that comes with, say, a text like the Bible. I think my moral system is superior to this Bronze Age system. And I wonder why people feel the need to glom onto this. It's like I don't think you have to believe, anti-scientific things, including the existence of any deity or God, in order to be a moral being.
Yeah, you're right. But what you're saying is very, very true. I think it's because, Christianity was the foundation. And that's where, the beginners got their foundation, their moral foundation from. So it has, people have thought about it for a long time, and we have this superior version of morality that you're talking about that, it's more superior to what our ancestors used to do. But before now, they needed something to go along with. They needed something. Right now, we know what morality is. We understand it. So it's very easy for, your morality, for your moral values to have more, to be of a higher source than the Bible. It's because people have lived for a long time, and we've now thought about it for a long time, and we now understand it. But what the Bible gives is the basics for the people who were, there before, who didn't understand scientific knowledge, who didn't understand, technology and everything.
Yeah, so And again, the morality of something like top down morality, like a mob boss situation, like Christianity is, the Bible makes moral pronouncements, but it doesn't give you a moral system. There's no system endowed onto the reader. It's just pronouncements of right and wrong. But this doesn't give someone reason, like a way to reason through it. It's just like God said this, and this is what is moral. I think that's just a terrible way to go about morality. It's like if a mob boss all of a sudden said, guys, it's now moral for us to go and murder and torture this particular clan because of what they said about my daughter or something like that. And if we look at the story of Abraham, it's like, it's, in my view, in my worldview, it is immoral for any being or anyone to tell someone to sacrifice their child and then at the last moment say, oh, no, I was kidding. I just wanted to make sure that you would do anything for me. I don't think that's moral.
I really like how you're thinking. I like how you're thinking. What you're saying is very, very true. And I like what you're saying because what the Bible says most of the time is not what God is telling us. Okay, so a story in the Bible, Jesus met people who were chasing a prostitute to go stone her because that's what the Bible said. And Jesus said, wait, which one of you haven't sinned before? If you haven't sinned before, hit the prostitute with a stone. And nobody did it. That tells you that, the Bible said it, but God was expecting people to use reason, to think about what has been said.
How do you know God was expecting people to do that?
I was trying to say the writers. The writers is what I was trying to say when I said God. The writers, the writers were expecting people to think about it very deeply and see, okay, is this what God expects from us? So, the Bible said it previously that if somebody is a prostitute, stone her to death. But Jesus said, okay, if any of you haven't sinned before, try it. So that tells you that how people go about Christianity is, it's not what the Creator expects us to do. The Creator expects us to think about it for a long time, debate about it, and come up with something that is way, way superior than the simple instruction that was written in the Bible.
So I agree. There's you understand that there's going to be all of these different interpretations of Scripture, right? Like the Westboro Baptist Church thinks that that human beings should not be attempting to play around and interpret the Word of God. They should be adhering to it as it's written, because they believe that these people who claim to be divinely inspired, who wrote this down, should be trusted. And my point is that why would anyone trust the truth of these claims and stories by people who simply just said, oh, I'm divinely inspired, I'm getting a divine inspiration, and then they write down this new law?
Yeah, the thing is, I like what you say, because you're pointing out the problems in the religion. The problem is there are people who don't really understand what the whole religion is about. The Christian religion, for instance, there are a lot of people who don't understand what the religion is about, and their characters, their own characters, is what people see, and people think that's what Christianity is about. And that is what you've seen most of the time. And what you're pointing out is not Christianity itself, is some of the characters of the people who think they are Christians. Example is in the Bible, people asked Jesus that, okay, the Bible said it clearly that if you don't wash your hands before you eat, it's a sin. And somebody asked Jesus, okay, Jesus, why didn't you wash your hand before you eat? Why didn't you wash your hand? And Jesus said to him, bro, don't you know that anything that goes into your mouth comes out? Like everything you eat gets digested and come out. It's not a sin. You don't understand it. Jesus pointed out clearly to them that you guys don't understand it. It's what you say. It's if you insult somebody who's done nothing to you, that is what a sin is. if you just go around beating people, acting, in a very, very bad way, that is what sin is. It's not about what you eat. So Jesus was pointing out the problem you are pointing out. The understanding is not there. A lot of people don't understand it. And it's their character that people see and think it's the whole of Christianity that is like that. Christianity is not like that. You, for instance, would be a very, very good Christian because you're coming from a scientific view, and everything the Bible says, you would try to play around with it and see if it fits with the actual material world. If it's a good law, you would know. If it's not, you would know. So you, for instance, would be a very good Christian because you're using reason, and that is what Jesus expects us to do. The people who say, "Hey, just obey," that's not what Christianity is about, and that is not even what the Creator says in the Bible.
Well, I think the Creator would have a problem actually with me as a Christian, because I'm not convinced that the Creator actually even exists, and I'm convinced that these ideas and stories and parables came from human minds and wrote them down, and the character of Jesus may not have even existed at all, even as a human man. So I don't think that if your Christian God is actually real and does actually exist, which I really don't think it does, because I don't think there's any evidence, it's not going to be happy with me rejecting and also encouraging others to not just take things on faith.
I think I really like what you're saying. I actually think you'll be happy because you are coming from a point of questions. You are actually questioning it. You're questioning its validity, and that is what God actually likes. He wants you to question it. That is what an individual is, and you are the absolute individual Jesus Christ taught us about. You are questioning its validity. You just don't want to take it on face surface and just go with it. The Bible said it clearly. Not everybody who says God, God, God will inherit the kingdom of God. So people who question it, and then seek evidence. If they become believers, they are actually very good. But the thing is, I cannot give you evidence. I believe it, and I've experienced it in dreams and all of that. I cannot give it to you. I cannot prove it to you. So I completely understand why you don't believe he exists.
Right. So and an example I'll give you is that you don't like. Okay, obviously Christians and Muslims are believing in the same God, Yahweh, but you don't believe in the existence of Zeus, right?
I think all those gods. I think those gods are I think it comes from a place of deep story, very, very deep story. Like it's something that was written for a very, very long time, and I think what we do is study and get a deeper meaning out of it. I think that's what those are.
See, I think it's a mistake to think that you're getting deep meaning out of something that is just ancient and old. Something being ancient and old doesn't mean that you're going to find deep meaning. For instance, there's a lot of crap in the Bible, like sanctions of slavery, that Jesus endorsed. Jesus said, I have not come here to abolish the laws of the prophets. I came here to fulfill them. And he's referring to the laws of the prophets. These laws are very clearly staked out. And if you work on the Sabbath, you shall be stoned to death. If a man sleep with a man the way a man sleepeth with a woman, he shall be stoned to death. All of this stuff that isn't enlightening, it's actually just evidence of barbarism of the time.
Yeah, and what you're saying is true. And what he said referred to the people who were living there and at that very instant. So it's a little bit different if you apply it to us directly. It was specifically, he was telling the people who were there that message specifically. It was meant for those people. And what he said, when he said, I did not come to abolish the laws of the prophets, it's not in that literal sense, because it's the same laws of the prophet that stated that if a lady becomes a prostitute, stone her to death. And Jesus abolished that specific law. And
he didn't. He didn't, though.
He did it. In its abolishment, what he acted out in abolishing that law gives us a deeper meaning. What do I mean by that? You see, the law said if a lady becomes a prostitute, stone her to death. And when people were chasing somebody to go stone her to death, Jesus got there and said, why are you people trying to stone her to death? If you think you've never sinned before, stone her. So Jesus was telling them, listen.
But he said, if they've never sinned before, stone her.
Yeah, there is a reason why he said that. He was trying to tell them that you people don't understand what has been written.
Well, why didn't he just say never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, stone a person?
If he says, there is a reason why we have proverbs. If you don't say it in a proverb and you say it directly, it loses its connections to all other subjects. But when it's said in the proverb, it keeps the connection to all other subjects, so it can be applied to every subject. He said, what he was trying to tell them is you all are humans, and none of you is righteous. You are all sinners. So stop holding people strictly accountable for a sin they did. Yeah. It's not in your hands to do it. It's in the hands of the most righteous. And none of you are those people. So don't do that. That is what he was doing over there. And that keeps its connections to all other subjects. It can be applied to every subject. That's the reason why he didn't say it directly.
Yeah, I know that you're not presenting this as evidence positive of God's existence, and you seem to just believe on faith. But, if you start accepting like a thing like God on faith, do you think that has you in your everyday life accepting anything else on faith or becoming more gullible or anything like that? Do you think that affects your everyday life?
Yeah, I think accepting certain things of faith has its advantages. And when we were children, we were told a lot of things that we were not able to prove it because we weren't at that age. So we just accepted it on faith, including you as well. Example is, I remember in my country, Ghana, they say if you are bathing, don't sing. And they just tell us that if you're bathing, don't sing, because if you sing, your mom is gonna die. And we just accepted it on faith and said, okay, if I'm bathing, I'm not gonna sing because my mom is gonna die. But we did accept it on faith though. And when we grew up, that was when we realized that, oh, okay, there was actually a reason why they were telling us not to sing, because the soap and the chemicals may end up in our belly through our mouth. So we accepted that faith, and it helped us grow. It achieved the purpose of what they said, but it was the scientific, if you think about it scientifically, is wrong, but it's also true. It's wrong and it's also true at the same time, because the purpose of the message was we want you to grow up as a healthy human being.
Yeah. So okay, right there, I want to stop you there. Growing up as a healthy human being, I think I grew up as a healthy human being. Almost everyone I know has grown up as a healthy human being, and they didn't have this kind of divine intervention that you seem to think is necessary for that or good.
No, I'm just trying to say that. No, I was saying that in reference to what you said, that do we most of the time accept things through faith? And I'm saying that most of the time we accept a lot of things through faith, and it has its advantages.
I would say I don't accept anything on faith, and I'll just give you my definition of faith. The excuse you give for believing something when you have no good reason to give, because I can give a good reason as to why I believe it. I can give you a good reason, like even in relationships, like if I'm in a relationship and someone says, well, you take it on faith, and Dinesh D'Souza has said that to me before, you take it on faith if you choose to marry someone that they're going to be with you forever. It's like, no, I'm not taking that on faith. I hope that it will be a long-lasting relationship and a healthy one. But I'm also thinking, if this does get unhealthy or things don't work out, it's not the end of the world. That's not faith. That's just looking at the preponderance of evidence in front of you and saying, and coming to these conclusions. Faith would be okay. We got married, and I know this is going to last forever, and everything's going to be beautiful. It's like, yes, that would be faith.
Okay, I think you actually said it better. What Christians mean by faith is actually hope. Everything we do, the believe in God that He exists, the believe in transcendence, it's hope.
Well, I don't think it is hope, because
it is hope. It is hope.
Well, the reason why I say it's not hope is because they say, when I say to most Christians, is it possible that your God does not exist? No, that's not possible. I have 100% faith and certainty that my God exists. And then I'm like, how do you know that? I have faith. Faith is all you need.
Yeah, that's
not hope.
That is personal. No, that is personal character. That is not what the Bible talks about hope a lot, and words change with time. The faith that there is so much emphasis on the faith, but the faith actually is hope. It is hope.
I disagree with you. I think people are engaging in faith, and again the definition I use for that, and the way I see it playing out, and the way I see it used, is the excuse you give for believing something when you have no good reason. But I'm going to end this call there, and I really appreciate you. Like, you're a really good interlocutor, and I really appreciate your good faith discourse here. And I hope you join us on Discord, and I would really, really love it if you called in again. I really appreciate you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I appreciate what you're doing too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys. All right. Salman, you are live.
Hello. How are you, Travis?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I tried to call you earlier. I was having some severe connectivity issues, so I hope you're hearing me fine.
Yeah, you're beautifully.
Do you distinguish between being agnostic or atheist?
Well, let's talk about the difference between Gnosticism and agnosticism. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm just trying to get this connection back. Let's see. Repairing connection. All right, I think we're back. So you asked about Gnosticism versus agnosticism. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, yeah, cool. So Gnosticism and agnosticism deals with what we claim to know, and atheism and theism deals with what we claim to believe. So two separate things. You can be a Gnostic atheist, agnostic atheist, Gnostic theist, agnostic theist, which is sometimes these terms can get contradictory just by their very label. But yeah, so when it comes to agnosticism and Gnosticism with regards to atheism, I'm happy to defend the Gnostic atheist position, to make a positive claim that there are no gods, and I'm willing to claim that with the same certainty that I'll claim there is no Santa Claus, there are no invisible fairies flying around, there are no ghosts in this spirit realm. That doesn't mean that it's not possible that they are there. I'm willing to grant the possibility for anything. But plausibility, there's 0% plausibility as far as I can tell. So yeah, but my atheism, purely my atheism, is just a rejection of the God claims.
Good. So technically you're agnostic, but you're happy to make a practical positive claim that you're not gonna take it seriously until you're presented with evidence.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so guess what? I'm a theist, but I'm on your side. I appreciate the skeptic spirit. I don't think people should believe something based on complete blind faith. I think we should have evidence for what we believe. And since I'm theist, I'm going to try to present you with what I think is evidence.
Awesome.
And we'll go step by step. And if you think that I'm making any leaps or I'm making any jumps, call me out on it.
Yeah, definitely, I will.
I'll be happy to just dodge the entire argument. Okay. Okay. So first of all, do you accept causation?
Do I accept causation?
Yes.
like the law of cause and effect.
Yes.
I do, but let me throw in a caveat there.
Mm-hmm.
I see cause and effect in motion. We can measure it scientifically. But if one is to claim that everything has a cause, I am not willing to grant that.
Okay, but to say that everything has a cause is the same thing as saying that it's equivalent to saying that there isn't something that does not have a cause, that comes out of nothing, that just pops out.
Well, no, not necessarily. Not that it just pops out, but I think, and I think this is where the evidence is starting to steer us, and this is why I'm not willing to make that claim, that there is an absolute state of potential that is infinite. As far as when we go back,
that's
and
very
regress,
interesting. Okay,
yeah,
so that's exactly what I'm trying to demonstrate, that it's not possible. That infinite potential.
You don't think it's possible that there's infinite.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'll try to demonstrate that, and tell me if you agree or not. Okay. So if we just take the first premise that cause and effect is real, that there is such a thing as cause and effect, okay, we can just apply that to the concept of events. We have events in space and time, and we can just, if we ask, okay, what's the cause of event X? You would say, well, it's Y or whatever. Right. And then I would ask you the same question about Y, and then we would go back to whatever, and that would create a chain. I think you know where I'm going with this. Yep. So that would create a chain that we're going backwards in time as we are asking about the causes of events.
Yeah. Can I jump in about time just for a second? So time, I view time in like a micro scale time, which is like our measurable time, the way we measure time. But then there's also what I call a macro scale of time, where that macro scale of time, so far as I can tell, until we can demonstrate that on that macro scale that there is a beginning, I'm not willing to just grant that for no good reason. On the macro scale, like I'm talking, let's say if we could go back 17 trillion years, on a macro scale level, what would that state of potential look like? And some people might say, well, that's a nonsensical concept because as far as we can tell, time, space, matter, it all came into existence at the Big Bang. But I think that's not taking into consideration this concept of macro time, which I'm not willing to just accept that this idea.
By the way, I don't really understand the distinction that you're between macro and micro time that you're trying to.
So micro time being in our observable universe, we can make time distinctions based on the expanding universe, on our relationship to things, and we know because of Einstein that time is relative. So we have this idea of relative time, and this all measures back to the spark of the Big Bang, the explosion. And then, and this is conceptualized in that the way we talk about time, the way we think about time, that our time in our observable cosmos started at that moment, right? So we would say that's where time started. So that's not the time when I say macro time that I'm talking about. I'm talking about pre-Big Bang
just to make sure I get you correctly, to you, micro time stops at the Big Bang.
Yes, so our concept of micro time would have started
and anything
at the Big Bang.
Quote before that would be macro time.
Yes, yeah.
Am I right?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll get backwards in time. So let's discuss the possibilities that we have. We said that there is a chain of cause and effect.
Right.
Okay, the possibilities, I'm going to list them. Tell me if I'm going to miss anything.
Okay.
The first possibility is that there's an infinite chain. Okay, so things cause each other, and this goes on infinitely. Okay, let's have that as a possibility. Another possibility is that there was something that popped out of nothing. Okay. Now that's absurd. I'm going to show you that this is absurd.
Okay, wait.
I'm just trying to exhaustively.
Something that popped out of nothing. So nothing is another term we need to clear up here. So there is the Lawrence Krauss, how he talks about pre-Big Bang before the Big Bang. It's like there was nothing, but what we find in this pre-Big Bang state, nothing is actually a sparking, boiling pot of quantum fluctuations. So that is not nothing, and I think we need to stop calling that nothing. I just wanted to throw that in there.
If we have a name for it, then it's definitely not a nothing.
Right. Yes. Yeah. People say nothing in the, like, I think that a state of potential is something. So I think it's better to call that pre-Big Bang state a state of potential, not just call it nothing, because it's not something in the sense that we're used to seeing things and measuring things.
But it's still something that we can conceive of, right?
Yeah.
So that's not a nothing, sure. But what was I saying? I was trying to say that the other possibility is that something just popped out.
Yeah,
okay.
But you said nothing, and that's why I jumped in there.
Okay, no problem.
Because I'm not convinced that nothing can actually exist in the absolute sense.
Oh, okay. The third possibility is that there is something that was an initial element in the chain that wasn't caused by another thing. Okay, so we had three options. Either the chain is infinite, or the chain is finite, but the first element of the chain is not caused by something else.
So you're talking about the uncaused cause.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Okay, so those three possibilities. If I, by elimination, show you that the other two are absurd, and only the third one is plausible, would that be a rational argument acceptable to you, that there is that first uncaused cause?
So it wouldn't be
approximate to what we call a deity? I'm not trying to make a jump.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to make a jump.
No, I get it. I get it. Okay. So what it would be is if you got to that point and you were able to get down to this model that you're describing of the uncaused cause, it doesn't get you one step closer to a god or a deity, because it could simply be an intelligent rock. It could be an alien life form that, for reasons that maybe we can never know, it is just always been, or it's just uncaused for some reason. I'm just saying that it doesn't get you a step closer to God. It just gets you a step closer to, there seems to be an uncaused cause here.
Okay, that's a fair point, by the way. And I would just slowly eliminate those alternative hypotheses that you just gave, the alien, the rock. I would eliminate them for you. But if you're willing to just follow me through, okay?
Yeah, keep going with where you're going. I want to see where you might think a deity might move in, where invisible fairies could.
Yes. I'm gonna be extra careful with that. If you find me doing that, just tell me that I'm doing that. I'll try my best to be rational.
And by the way, I must say you are another great example of how good faith discourse should roll out on any conversations. I really appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, can we easily eliminate the popping out of nothing option? Is it absurd enough for you?
Popping out of nothing. Yes, because I'm not sure the concept, it hasn't been demonstrated that nothingness can be achieved. So I would say yes, throw it away.
That's irrational, that's inconsistent. Let's throw it away. We have two. Either the infinite potential, the infinite chain, the scientific word of that would be the multiverse theory, right?
Yeah, the infinite, I would say a better way to put it, but it's the same type thing, is an infinite state of potential.
Okay, I don't care about names, let's call it whatever.
Right. So I'm not willing to eliminate that.
Okay, how about if I demonstrate a logical argument to eliminate that?
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a claim that there is no such thing as a real infinite.
Okay. And then I would say demonstrate that.
Sure. So see, mathematicians use the word infinite. Okay, I would say it's more of an artistic concept. to them. They maybe this is gonna.
I
this
agree.
Is debatable.
Look, I
Yeah.
agree with you. This is where the artistic, inspirational aspects of the mind start co-mingling and mixing with the scientific inspirational aspects of the mind, and this is why I think the theory of everything requires this. But I agree with the concept of infinite kind of being this, having this artistic element to it.
So I'm not sure if mathematicians would agree with me here, but I'm confident that some of them would agree with me. So the idea of infinite in a real sense is actually nonsensical, because it's self-contradicting. I'll give you the following thought experiment. This is not originally from me. I've obtained it from somewhere else. I've read a long time ago, so I'm not claiming that this is my thought experiment. So imagine that you have an infinitely sized library.
Okay.
Okay, and that you have 2 shelves in that library, also infinitely sized. On the let's say the right side, the right shelf, there is an infinite number of, say, red books. Okay.
Okay.
And on the opposing shelf, there is an infinite number of black books, such that there is a 1-to-1 correspondence between each red and black book.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you 3 questions. How many books do you have in that library?
Did you say you have infinite numbers of this? Sorry.
Yes, that was the hypothetical.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
that
if
was
you
the
say
hypothetical assumption.
okay, so if the hypothetical information is that you have infinite, and then you're asking how many you have, you could, in theory, take a what I call a state of potential snapshot of that moment when that was asked, and give a number. But the difference is that number, or let's say if someone asks, okay, what is the actual, because there's if you could observe the entire infinite, then the answer is infinite, right?
Okay.
But if you can't observe the entire infinite, the entity reading and reacting to this is going to likely fail by counting what they can observe.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to count. You definitely cannot count the infinite. I'm just asking you, within the confines of that hypothetical world.
Yeah.
I told you that it is an infinite number of books. I'm trying to show you that this concept is contradictory. Yeah. So the answer would be infinite, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
If I ask you what is the number of red books in that library, or alternatively, what is the number of black books?
Yeah.
The answer would also be infinite.
Yes. Yep.
Correct.
Correct.
So the contradiction here lies in the fact that the part is equal to the whole.
Yes. So this is where it freaks people out. This concept freaks us out for good reason, because this state of potential, this infinite state of potential,
by the way,
is counterintuitive to the measuring techniques we have developed and the measuring languages we've developed in order to kind of conclude what's going on. It doesn't work because we're searching for something that does not exist, potentially being the point in which the state of potential began.
So you do agree? Okay, so I'm trying to make something clear here. I'm not saying that infinite as a potential number. So there are 2 types of infinities. There's a potential infinite, so a number that's continuously increasing. For example, time. Yeah. Tomorrow is always yesterday plus 1, right? It's continuously increasing.
Yes.
That's a potential infinite. At any point when you say, what's the quantity, what's the magnitude, the answer would be, it's still finite, but it's a pretty big number.
Right.
It has the potential it's going towards infinity, but it's not really an infinity.
Right.
There's no problem with that concept. My problem is with the concept that there is a real number that is infinite.
Right. I know. And this is why I think it's a tough question that requires a mix of philosophical interpretation of what is mixed of what we observe, and thinking about what can we get away with claiming from a skeptic's perspective that fits within a mathematical model that may need to include infinity. And it seems like an answer that is insufficient, because we want to know the stages of time in this thing that very well might be timeless. This is the stuff that Brian Greene, Lawrence Krauss, all these people wrestle with when it comes to, because we can measure time, what I call micro time, back to the Big Bang. That's very easy. We can measure it all back. Light allows us to do that. But when we get beyond that, when we get beyond our, maybe, let's say, observation into very much like theory based on understanding of particle physics and things like that, and these states of like, well, what is this state? Well, it seems to be nothing. Oh, now that we understand particle physics a little more, we might have an understanding that this state of nothing actually may not be possible, and what we were calling nothing is actually a popping, boiling pot that has almost or maybe infinite potential. It's yeah. Chad is not caught up with us, in case you're reading the chat along with us, but yeah. So like, what do you think about that? Like, as a skeptic, I think this through, and I leave these doors open, and I want to smack down any claims, any positive claims of things that are beyond this, outside of, simply there seems to be this ongoing state of potential, and I don't see any reason to claim that that this state of potential has come into exist at all, and that it seems to be always sitting there. But I take that with a grain of salt. It's a very hard thing to demonstrate outside of creating a mathematical equation that includes infinity.
Mm-hmm. So are you happy to exclude the option of the infinite chain of things that keep causing each other? The multiverse idea? Because it's nonsensical.
Only when it comes to look, you're never going to get me to throw away the state of potential, because I'm not convinced that there can that.
By the way, I don't completely understand what you mean by the state of potential.
Okay.
So that thing that was the pre-Big Bang, is that what you call the state of potential?
So what I'm saying is that I'm at this point, I need to publish this, but I am willing to claim, and my work will be coming out on this, but I'm willing to claim that everything is a state of potential, and there has always been a state of potential. I'm willing to make those two claims. And by state of potential, meaning that a state in which something can happen.
Okay, so a condition that allows for events to occur.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I call the state of potential. And if someone wants to call that God, I'm like, well, God's a terrible term for that, because God comes along with all of these identifiable characteristics, and even deistic gods. It's like, it just I think it's much more simple than that.
Well, Travis, I think we can reach some common ground here, because what you're calling the state of potential isn't far away from what I'm trying to claim here.
Right. So I would. So when it comes to theism, man,
yeah.
If you're invoking any kind of deity or agent, right? Because we're obsessed we as human beings are obsessed with agency for good evolutionary reason, man, and I get it. Because like if you think of very early stages, okay, it's better for us from a survival standpoint to see a shadow while we're foraging in the bush and react as though it's an agent of something. Not just an agent, a potentially harmful, dangerous agent. Are the people who passed their genetics on were the people that reacted in a way to shadows, as opposed to, oh, there's a shadow, whatever, maybe it's not nothing, or maybe it's nothing, and then they kept foraging and then they get eaten. They don't get to pass on their genes. And then we start getting a little more advanced and we start using language, and we see this lightning clap go across the sky, a big thunderclap, boom, and then other people in the village look up to their elders and they say, oh,
it must be someone who's
what
doing
is
it.
that? And then because of our obsession with agency, we say, that is the agent of lightning. And then we start building these narratives around this, and we start saying, oh, agent of lightning. Oh, maybe we should give that agent a name, or is there a name that we can maybe like think really hard, and maybe it just needs to be discovered what the name is. Oh, how about Zeus? So we go through all these stages.
We're very biased. As a creature, we're very biased. We have all of those tendencies to make mistakes. But that's not what I'm trying to do here, Travis. I'm saying that state of potential that we have reached, that whatever it is that's at the point where micro time started, or the Big Bang, that thing, okay, what can it not be? If I ask this question, what can it not be? Okay, it can't be a rock for sure, because if it was a rock, then it's a physical element. It's an object, correct? And if it's an object, it is contingent. I don't want to throw jargon here.
It can be a
rock. Why? Why do you think it can be a rock?
Because it can be a rock, because we may come to realize that the whole state of potential, everything that we are inside this huge state of potential, may actually be shale rock. We need to leave that possibility open. Like we exist inside shale rock. And I'm using the rock. It could exist inside a birch tree. That's why we got to leave these possibilities open. And I think it's fallacious to claim properties onto this thing that onto this state of potential that we know nothing about. Perhaps the only thing we know about it is that the state itself exists.
Okay, but the reason I'm saying it can't be a rock is because since you value the scientific method, we know that physical objects are not eternal by definitions. They decay. They do not come to be this eternal heavenly body that just stays there and starts everything else. That is inconsistent with what we know about objects.
This is why I know the whole infinite anything is inconsistent with what we know about objects. This is not going to be, this discovery of this state of potential is not, it's going to be conceptual. It's going to be a concept to help us better understand why there can be the state of infinite potential. Not that we can claim with absolute certainty that there always has been, but why there can be this state of potential. And I think it's a mistake because the scientific method is open to this, by the way. It just needs evidence for this, that this infinite state can be.
Yes. Scientific knowledge does change, by the way. It's not like the ultimate knowledge, perfect.
No. And that's important. And this is why we create hypotheses, and then they eventually graduate to the ultimate top level of theory. And the theories are not at all concrete in a way that they can't be smashed down. Someone could theorize gravity in a better way at some point to make more sense. It's these theories are not solidified in scripture and not open to scrutiny. They're all open to all of it. But the amazing thing about some of these long-lasting theories is that as much as we've tried to falsify them, and go after them, because wouldn't you want to be the scientist that falsified gravity? It's a very, very intriguing thing to seek to falsify this. This is why the peer review process works in science, and yeah, it's just the greatest. It's the greatest thing for humanity. This method, and yeah, but it's not. Science is open to new claims and new evidence being proposed, and to make claims about what is. And my thing is, if someone's going to make a claim, well, this state of potential must have, we know it couldn't be this, I would say, how do you know that?
But it's just as good as your arguments that say it's implausible that Santa Claus exists. Because when someone wants to argue for Santa Claus, you would say, okay, so far the scientific knowledge does not point to any valuable reason why we should believe in Santa Claus.
Yes.
And that's what you accept. Okay,
yeah,
I would
say,
it's imperfect. It could change at some point.
Yeah.
But that's what you accept practically.
Yeah, Santa Claus could be demonstrated to exist at some point, and my beliefs would conform to the evidence of reality if that was the case.
So I'm not arguing for a gaps here. I'm just saying, given what we know, it's implausible that state of potential or that first cause, whatever we want to name it, I don't care, that thing most probably isn't an alien, most probably isn't an object that is of this space and time that we know of. Okay, it has to be different. Okay, and the argument goes that, okay, if you ask what can it not be, and you start eliminating those intuitive, easy answers, then you're left with, okay, it was a first cause that started the chain that is not physical, okay, that can't be part of this, it can't be contingent or dependent on another thing, okay. Then what made that chain start in time? What made it, why is it really then, if that first cause is chain, okay, what made it happen? Why did it really pop out in 14 billion years ago? That's a valid question, don't you think?
Yeah, no, the Big Bang question is very valid. And it seems to relate to something in particle physics where these events, there very well be many cases in how we relate to time is kind of, our human understanding of time does get in the way, because I think when we start talking about time on that scale, we get this time sickness, and we start engaging with naturalistic fallacy and argument from ignorance fallacy, and it's hard for us to comprehend time. But it may be the case that 14.5 billion years or 13.5 billion years is really just a little blip on the macro time radar, and these events just happen all the time. These Big Bang events, that may be the case, but it's an interesting question to talk about the start of the Big Bang. But what may be a nonsensical concept is to attempt to discover why there is and always has been a state of potential. It may in fact be undiscoverable.
Why would you say so?
Well, I'm just saying it may be, just like the spark of the Big Bang. That may be undiscoverable for us. It's a sad thing about the scientific method always tends to prove that wrong. We tend to say that, this thing may not be discoverable, like this disorder that someone has in their mind or something like that. And then the scientific method comes along.
I do think that the scientific method is limited to what's outside of the observable. That's a different argument. Let's not get into that right now. I just want to get into the claim here that, because based on my question, it's not really crazy and irrational to say, is it possible that it's agency that made it pop out 14.5 billion years ago, if it can't be the alternatives, if the alternatives aren't as plausible as the agency hypothesis?
The agency hypothesis is not plausible at all. Zero plausibility.
Why?
Possibility? Yes. Everything's possible. But plausibility, there's no evidence that this needs to have any kind of intelligence.
No, but it becomes plausible when you say that the alternatives are impossible, actually, not just plausible.
Oh, they're
when
not.
eliminate...
They're not impossible. And actually, if you demonstrate that something else is impossible, it doesn't mean the other thing is possible. It is implausible. It doesn't mean the other thing is plausible or more plausible.
No, it does, because what are you left with?
You don't know what you're left with, because that might yet need to be discovered. So at that point, you would say, I don't know. You don't say that that makes this other unproven thing more plausible. That's skepticism.
Yeah. So unless we're exhaustive about listing the possibilities.
No, even if we are exhaustive, it still isn't evidence positive if all of these other things don't fit. That's actually God of the gaps fallacy. If we go down that route, if we're willing to put in placeholders
so
without evidence, that's God of the gaps.
If we agree that there are four logical possibilities to an outcome or an event, okay, just it can't be something other than those four options. For example, if we agree that if it's something, it has to be from those four, okay, I eliminated three.
Yeah,
you
didn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be so quick to claim that these are the only four, right? Like, for instance, we might claim from a dimensional perspective early on, before we understood multi-dimension, we might claim that there is only one dimension, right? And to claim that there are other dimensions is nonsensical. But I would just be careful from a skeptic's perspective. If you want to be a skeptic with a solid foundation, skepticism, you won't go around claiming things like that. I think it's better to go with the evidence of reality. And if we're talking about concepts that we are playing with, make those claims very, very cautiously, with a lot of, it very well might be the case that X. I think making absolutist claims, you're going to find people finding some kind of logical fallaciousness in that.
Sure, that's why I'm talking to you. I want to know if I made any jump in here, because I said it can't be physical. It can't be the same. It can't be governed by the same laws and rules that govern this contingent dependent universe. It must be something.
No, just wait. It can be, but it has a certain element to it that allows it to be a certain way that we don't see anything else doing.
Okay, that's almost the same thing. So it is distinct. It is different than what we ordinarily know. Otherwise, it would be just as contingent as the universe, and then we'd go back to an infinite chain.
Right.
Right.
Okay, Salman, I do have to go, but I do want you to call back. I can't tell you how much I've really enjoyed engaging with you.
Likewise.
But I'm pushed against it here. Join us on Discord and send me a DM so I know that you're there. I would love to have you as part of our Discord, and we do conversations every day on the open mic. So.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay, guys, that was Salman. I'm going to wrap up the callers for the day there. I'm going to take a look at your guys' chat here quickly. Really appreciate all you guys engaging in the chat. Holy shit, it tells us that we have 2,800 people in the room. I don't know how many are bots, how many are real, and 564 likes. That's like really huge for this channel. So don't hold your breath, guys. There could be robots in the room, but whether you're a robot or whether you're a real person, I just want to thank you guys all for engaging. I want to say thank you to Michaela, Alexander, all of the people who have been engaging in the or who have been moderating. I really appreciate you guys weighing in. James Beveridge says, I can be bought. Join us on Discord, you guys. We have conversations every day, all day, at night. Whenever you want to jump into an interesting conversation, you can on our Discord. on our Discord. Join the Discord. Please subscribe, but more importantly on this channel, hit the notification bell, because you will never ever see our live streams if you don't do that. Please hit the notification bell. Leave a like on this video before you leave. This has been Test Your Skepticism number 4. Test Your Skepticism number 4. We're doing it. It's going. Please, 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 if you like what we do here at Pangburn, if you like this show, you can support us further. You can become an official Pangburn subscriber, including a one-on-one with me that you can tape if events where I'm going to be inviting some of my friends in intellectualism and authors and thinkers, some of your favorites, and you'll be able to interact with them in the room with, be able to ask them questions digitally, face to face. So if you want to learn about that more, just Michaela dropped the link in the description, www.pang-burn.com/subscription. I just dropped a new video, the myth of anti-transgenderism. Check out that clip. We just dropped that clip this morning. Lots of interesting things being discussed on the Pangburn channel here. So join us. We'd love to have you. This has been Test Your Skepticism number 4. And as always, let art and science inspire. Woo!